Good evening, everybody. We're going to get started here. I would like to call to order the City of West Bend Plan Commission meeting for February 1st. Note that we do have a quorum with all present and accounted for. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll note that we have 7 items on our agenda. The first being approval of the minutes, the Plan Commission regular meeting minutes for January 4th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Model and Starl. Any comments or corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. On to number 4, development proposals, A, zoning amendments, and number 1, ZA-21-009, a public hearing for proposed zoning code text amendment to amend subchapter 2, floodplain zoning of the municipal code for the city of West Bend to adopt the flood insurance study and associated flood insurance maps for the city of West Bend and amend the zoning flood maps and code text in accordance to the state and FEMA requirements by Department of Development. The applicant is the city of West Bend and the agent is the same. We're going to start this one with a public hearing, so if anybody from the public would like to speak on this item, feel free to come on up. Otherwise, we're looking for a motion to end the
Motion to
public
close the public hearing.
Second.
Thank you. It's been motion second. All those in favor of ending the public hearing, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And then we'll kick over to Jim for some comments.
Sure. Thank you. So this amendment is for the floodplain regulations that the city has to enforce. The city received revised FIR maps and the FIS study. This regulates the floodplain areas within the city of West Bend. We're asking that the commission make a recommendation to council for the adoption of the revised plans. We went through the code and revised them in accordance to the requirements of the DNR and the FEMA. We had a phone call with them today. There are a couple more revisions that I do need to make in regarding to the non-conforming section of that code for existing buildings, and then also for the hydraulic analysis section that we have. I just need to make some clarifications on that to satisfy the requirements of the DNR. So staff would recommend approval of the revisions contingent upon the corrections being made to satisfy the DNR needs. And this would take effect on February 25th of this year.
All right. And those corrections wouldn't have to go back before us, you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. Got it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. It's been motion second. Any comments or questions? Yes, sir.
Just a question. Does this impact does this bring in any existing structures that weren't in a floodplain before?
No, this wouldn't bring in anything new. If anything, it would actually improve situations for someone.
Sounds good. Any other comments? Then all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And we'll move on to B, conditional use permits. Number 1, CU-95-005, a public hearing for an amendment for the conditional use permit to operate a miniature golf, driving range establishment, and batting cage facility to include alcohol sales associated with the business and seasonal sales of Christmas trees at 601 East Paradise Drive. You have the tax keys there, sections there. And this is all by Theron Wanta of Stingers Golf and Recreation. The applicant is him, and the agent is Russ and Lori Wanta of Stingers as well. Start with you this time?
Sure,
Yeah.
Thank you. So this is a request for an amendment to the existing conditional use permit. The applicant has recently acquired the property and is looking to take over the miniature golf driving range and the batting cage area. He's also looking at improving the uses in the business and expanding it slightly, and is requesting an amendment for the hours of operations, which would include changing it from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturdays, to just 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day of the week, and then close on certain holidays. The request is also to update the concessions area to allow alcohol sales. So prior to getting alcohol license from the council, They had to amend the conditional use in order to allow that use as part of the business use. And then the last item that they're requesting for is to do seasonal sales for Christmas trees. And this would take place during the regular hours for, or regular times for Christmas tree sales from November to December. We've reviewed everything. We have revised plans for the alcohol consumption areas, and staff would recommend approval of the conditional use with the previously listed conditions, and then also in compliance with the definition letter that you supplied to us. All neighbors within 200 feet were notified, and staff had no comments or concerns pertaining to the use.
Sounds great. And with that, I will open up the public hearing. If anybody from the public would like to speak on this item, feel free to come on up.
Motion to close the public hearing. Excuse me.
Thank you. Model and Schmidt. All those in favor of ending the public hearing, so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Then I'll open up to the commission if anybody has any questions.
Well, you
Yes.
kind of, go ahead.
Sorry. Start with Bernie.
I have one. Is there lighting along the Eisenbahn Trail now? It's not a concern with that apartment building to the south with expanded hours now?
I'm not sure if there is lighting along there or not. I don't believe, nothing's changed for lighting, on the site itself. So I don't believe anything has changed in regards to that, but I don't know if,
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Model.
Oh, yeah, you answered my question about the hours and if we had any comments or concerns. I think this is great that you guys are keeping this tradition going. But I guess the only concern would be the later hours. But if everybody's cool, I'm cool.
Make a motion to approve with the six comments from staff.
Second.
Thank you. Schmidt and Starl. Are there any other questions, comments? Then hearing none, all those in favor of the conditional use permit, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And congrats, guys. Thanks for coming. And we'll move to C, Extraterritorial Certified Survey Map 1, XESM-22-001, two-lot certified survey map redividing 60.97 acres located at 1470 Decorah Road by Caleb and Kristen Kroll. The applicant is them, and the agent is Don Toma of Accurate Surveying and Engineering. Jim.
thanks. This extraterritorial certified survey map is 1.5 miles just south and east of the city limits. The purpose of the CSM is to redivide this into two parcels. Lot 1 is 40 acres and is vacant, and Lot 2 is a little over 20 acres and has an existing home on it. Access to these lots will be via a shared driveway easement accessing Decorah Road. Washington County has also approved the driveway location along with the house location, which is accessed through a wetland area via a Hall Road. The adequate right-of-way is being provided for Decorah Road, and also a 17-foot right-of-way reservation is being provided in accordance with the city's official map. Staff would recommend approval of the CSM.
Sounds great.
Motion.
Any comments? Sure, if you want to make a motion, you can.
Motion to approve.
Sounds good. Okay, so a motion second. Now, any comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And then we'll move on to D, Certified Survey Map number 1. And this goes in tandem with item E, site plan. So start off with number 1, CSM-21-018, two-lot certified survey map, redefining the two existing lots, common property line for the redevelopment of the western lot located at 2110 and 2020 West Washington Street by Steve Killian of Killian Management and PR West Bend LLC. The applicant are them, and then the agent is Peter Schwab. And then this will also involve that site plan, which is 1 SP-21-029, site plan for the redevelopment of a car wash at 2110 West Washington Street, and a site plan amendment at SP-17-019 for parking lot improvements at 2020 West Washington Street by Steve Killian, Killian Management. The applicant is Steve Killian, and the agent is Peter Schwab. Jim.
Thank you. So I'll start with the certified survey map. The purpose of this certified survey map is to redefine the common property line between the two existing lots. Essentially, that property line is being moved eastward to enlarge that western property line. Lot 1 will be 1.13 acres and has the existing car wash, which will be eventually demolished and redeveloped in accordance to the site plan that's scheduled next year. Lot 2 is 1.6 acres, and that contains the existing Pizza Ranch site. Both lots are Zone B1, community business, and their lots conform to the zoning requirements. The certified survey map identifies the existing utility easements, and access easements between the lots, and also a 42-foot wide access easement along the southern edge that goes from the west side all the way east to 18th Avenue. So reducing the extent of lot number 2 does affect the driveway locations and parking and lighting on that eastern lot. And approval of a revised site plan is needed prior to having the land division recorded. Minor technical corrections are needed to clarify some of the dimensions on the CSM and also to update and modify the access easements. So staff would recommend approval with the listed conditions.
Sounds great. Any questions on the certified survey map? Yes, sorry.
Well, I don't have really any concerns. I'm just kind of curious. I pulled in the Pizza Ranch before. I guess it was more so when they first opened up, and it was really busy, and all of their parking was taken. Is this going to be? It doesn't look like there's any structures in the area in question. Is this going to be a shared space? That we're just moving the property line, or?
No, the site plan will show this next, but what's going to happen is that they're moving this property line over. Pizza Ranch will be losing some parking in regards to that with the driveway realigning, and they'll actually use that area that they're redefining will be a shared drive area between the two. And the site for Pizza Ranch will be slightly modified also to redo the parking lot striping.
Oh, okay.
And then again, I'll further explain the parking demands and needs on that part too.
Sorry, I guess I jumped the gun on that. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay.
Any other questions on the certified survey map?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Dolnick and Model. If there's no further questions, all those in favor of the map, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We'll move on to site plan.
Thank you. So the site plan is for the redevelopment of of lot number 1, which was on the CSM that was just approved. This is for a 4,552 square foot car wash. This site plan also does include parking lot modifications to the lot to the east for the Pizza Ranch site. The additional pavement improvements are being proposed on the west lot also, just to improve drainage area in that just west of the car wash area. The property is Zone B1 community business with associated floodplain wetlands and floodway wetlands and floodplain wetlands. The plan does conform to the zoning requirements of B1. For the site access, they will be utilizing the shared driveway from West Washington Street, where that 42-foot wide shared access goes across the southern portion of the property. And then they're also modifying the easements for the access between Pizza Ranch and them, and then also between them and the auto repair to the west. 4 standard parking stalls are being provided on site, along with a barrier-free. This does meet the requirements of the parking for a car wash. 12 vacuum stalls are being proposed on site also. Since this reconfiguration of this lot and the lot to the east, improvements are needed on the Pizza Ranch site, and that includes modifying the driveway and the parking lot. The Pizza Ranch site originally had 100 parking stalls. This is being reduced down to 85 parking stalls with 4 barrier-free. Calculations have been provided by the applicant and confirmed with Pizza Ranch by them. for the parking needs. So under our code, depending on how you look at the area of service, we range from anywhere from 86 parking stalls to 102 parking stalls. The 86 is not including the buffet area, where the 102 parking stalls include that buffet area. Pizza Ranch has provided their numbers on what they feel they needed for parking, and they feel that they need anywhere from 55 to 59 parking stalls at their peak time. Staff does feel that the adequate parking is being provided for them at the 85 stalls, based on the calculation of the area of service without the buffet area. The parking lot access along between the two will need to be modified to be consistent with the layout of the site plan. Right now, how they're showing it is just a straight shot back, but the actual parking area and the drive areas do jog. So that will just need to be made consistent. The property will be served by the existing laterals for sewer and water. A stormwater management plan has been submitted for the development, is under review. The site grades have been designed to generally maintain the current drainage patterns. Site lighting is identified on the plans. LED light fixtures on 20-foot poles are being proposed, consistent with the requirements of the zoning code and urban design. Building lighting is also going to be provided. Some additional lighting may be needed along that shared driveway access area between the car wash and Pizza Ranch, since these modifications that are being proposed does eliminate the existing parking lights along that existing parking area that Pizza Ranch had. So that will need to be looked at prior to finalizing plans for additional need. Landscaping is being provided throughout the area around the building, and along with additional plantings along the perimeters on the south, east, and north. The architectural building elevations do identify signage on all four sides of the building, including the canopy. Those sign details haven't been provided, but prior to issuing a permit, staff would need to do a review and approve the actual sign sizes to make sure that they comply with the zoning code. The east elevation does identify 3 wall signs. In accordance with urban design, one wall sign is permitted per building wall, but the commission does have the ability to grant an exception for additional signage if they feel it's necessary. If the commission would grant that, staff would recommend that the total square footage of those signs equal the 10% of the wall area or 200 square feet, whichever one is less, to comply with the sign code. The architectural building elevations identify the building materials to be, the majority of them to be a carnival red or an ebony colored aluminum metal panel. Silversmith gray colored split face block is used on the lower portions of the building, and fiber cement panels are also used as accents throughout the building. Upon review, staff was slightly concerned with the fiber cement board accent being used at the main entrance, which would actually come in contact with the ground and contact with water. And this type of material has some issues with water and ground contact. So staff would recommend that that lower portion be made out of split face block consistent with the rest of the building, and then transition to that fiber cement. We're not opposed to it, but we are concerned with the durability of that material in that area. And the glass panels are also being used for the majority of the car wash area. Other than that, staff finds the architectural plans to be acceptable besides that one concern. Staff would recommend approval of the site plan with the listed conditions.
Thanks, Jim. I'm gonna start with a question this time. God knows that my family go to Pizza Ranch enough. You guys see us there. And so I just think of when the way it's currently set up, when you drive into that entrance there, on the west side, I guess it would be. It feels like such a bottleneck when cars are going in and out of there. So with this new plan, they're shaving off that little wedge of cement or whatever it is, right? That's up there to the west, and then just doing a straight back, or I guess straight north of that dividing line there. So I guess my question is, does that alleviate the traffic flow any better than the way it's currently set up? I know this is a jumbled question, but does that make sense, Jim? Does the new setup help the traffic flow any better than how it currently is?
It's hard to say. It
Okay.
may or may not. I mean, you're offsetting the main drive in, but it may be a trade-off with the traffic on the other side of the new car wash too.
So is the traffic flow, like for Pizza Ranch itself, is it meant to go like around the building, or is it 2 lanes of traffic on both sides?
It's 2 lanes of traffic
Okay.
for both sides. It's designed for two-way traffic on
Yeah.
both the west and the east side.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Thanks. Any other questions?
Yeah, it was just a question about staff's concern about the material on the face of the car wash. Is that the what's in red? Is that what you're suggesting is along the bottom instead of that fiber cement board?
Yeah. So if you look at the,
And do you have a specific number as to how many feet or inches that you want?
Yeah, I don't have a specific height that I'd prefer the block to be. I'm just looking at trying to find a transition in there. So if you look at
Yeah. It does make sense.
the
that you're
west
concerned with-
elevation, you have that lower band of brick or black that's beneath the windows. I would suggest just carrying that across where that entrance door is, and then transition
Oh,
to
I
the
see,
niche
yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I
cement
gotcha.
panel.
Yeah.
We've had it in the past where that cement panel actually doesn't hold up to and we've seen it kind of disintegrate with it being in contact with water and ground.
Yeah. There might be some water involved in this building, I guess. Yeah.
So that's why I made the recommendation.
Right, yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you.
I agree with that. I'd like to see that change made.
Yeah. Do we need to be specific about that, or?
Well, he already made the recommendation, so we can just approve with.
Yeah, okay.
Did you have anything else, Jim?
I don't have anything
Okay.
else.
Alderman Dolnick? Or Commissioner Dolnick?
If a car wash can be described as a very attractive building, I have to say it's an attractive building. I think they've, a lot of thought's gone into this, and I do have a concern, and I'll defer a lot of this to Max, but there appears to be a lot of room, a lot of stacking room for the incoming customers. But the concern I have is there's not much room for the exiting vehicles. And I wonder if we're going to have a bottleneck when the vehicles are exiting the car wash and they have to get through that entrance and exit, that shared driveway there. And if we're going to have a bottleneck. And I don't know, and maybe Max or the developer can talk about that. I know that there is spacing. Because the vehicles come out of the car wash in a rhythm, so to speak. So it's not a constant, may not be a constant stream, but I don't know. But we all know that area can be a problem as it is already.
Yes, we did have some concerns with traffic with this proposal. We didn't really have a concern with vehicle exiting conflicting with vehicle entering, unless the vehicle entering would be blocking that I call it frontage road that goes in front of all the businesses there. The way we're asking the applicant to help resolve this, and it's not shown on this plan, but it will be shown future revision of the plan is to install some pavement markings such as do not block intersection and some signs that will help keep the area free for vehicles traveling east-west on that frontage road and not being blocked by the queue of vehicles waiting to get into the car wash. I kind of want to respond to the mayor's question on whether it improves the flow of traffic. I think for regular vehicles, probably it's neutral. Obviously moving the driveway to Pizza Ranch away from the opening makes it more difficult for their delivery trucks, like bigger trucks, semi-trucks, to make the turns. But the applicant provided the truck turning movement, and they're able to make it through. There are some modifications they made to that island between the driveway entrance to the car wash and the driveway entrance to Pizza Ranch. That median that you see there originally was fully concrete, but some of it will have to be not fully raised so that trucks can drive over that to make their turns. We did have a question about in nicer days in the middle of winter, like we've seen this weekend, where everybody's rushing to the car wash to get the salt and dirt away from their vehicle. We will probably, even if the vehicles do obey those signs and pavement markings to not block the intersection, we could see a queue extended into Washington Street. So that was a question I asked the applicant. I don't have a solution to that. I think Peter said he was going to maybe ask Steve if I know on other sites they have more room so they can kind of go around the building. Here, they don't have that luxury. I'm told technically they're meeting the requirement for the queue that the code requires from the menu board going out. And I understand that the situation I've described is probably going to be hopefully more the exception than the rule, where we will see that queue go into Washington Street. I discussed that a little bit about the chief of police. We don't have a magic pill for this one, and we'll just have to address if it happens, when it happens, and see what can be done with that, unless you guys have talked about some suggestions.
But before you start, if you don't mind, come to the podium, state your name and address for us.
Steve Killian Jr., 1722 Clarence Court in West Bend here. So first of all, thank you for your consideration today. So in regards to stacking and then exiting, so in this Tommy's Car Wash, a lot, you were talking about when you exit out of the car wash, so you'll see quite a few cars will actually head to the vacuums after they get their car wash, so you won't have this constant flow of cars that are trying to get out immediately following the car wash. And the percentage I don't know, but as this model's work, that's a big piece of it. You get your car washed, you go vacuum out your car, and then you exit at that point. And then we are able to stack 27 cars prior to being on Washington Street in this setup here. And then one of the other big benefits of this car wash is it's very technologically advanced. So you'll notice it has 3 lanes. The inside lane is for an in-person cash transaction or signing up for future. And the 2 outer lanes are lanes that are meant for app or license plate recognition. And so those cars keep moving through, so you don't have someone talking to every single car, slowing that line and backing that line up. And so, we could, in this car wash, in theory, you could do up to 170 cars because of that. An average is 110. That would be an extreme. But those are some of the benefits to this setup to alleviate some of the congestion that you're speaking of right now. Yeah, and we obviously there's other car washes in the community as well. We've done some of our own work, and so Scrub It Up, for example, has about 20 cars that they can stack before they're on to Main Street. However, they're having much more interaction with cars, so that may stack up further back than we believe our Tommy's expresses, with just some of the technology involved in this car wash.
Yeah, so you're gonna have a membership?
Yep, there'll be a month, you could pay per wash, or it'll be a monthly membership. The
That's
goal,
awesome.
just from the efficiency standpoint, a monthly membership is really nice. You don't have to interact with anyone. You pull right in, the gate lifts, and you move on.
And so the license plate readers are going to just pass people through? Is that what you're saying?
That's through, or the app is really where we want to go. So once you have the app, it's really simple, recognizes that you're there, and you just go on through.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So,
Okay.
yep. So-
And then the other thing is, I know I go to Scrub It Up now.
Yep.
And I'm kind of in the habit of vacuuming my car first, or my truck rather.
Yep.
Is that going to be a concern if people want to go do that, or are you really set up so that they kind of have to vacuum after the fact?
We're set up, I mean, I guess you could in theory, but it's really, Tommy's is set up to vacuum after the fact. That's
So
really how-
visually, I'm not going to pull in there and see the vacuums and want to go do that?
Nope.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Any other questions of these gentlemen?
Make a motion to approve with staff comments.
Thank you. Second it. Thank you, Schmidt and Snarl. Any further comments? And hearing none, all those in favor, so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for coming out. And last but not least, we have number 2 under site plans, SP-21-028, site plan for industrial storage building for a construction company located at 1806 Schmidt Road by Jason Rose of Lakeside Contracting. The applicant is Jason, and the agent is Mackenzie Berg of Quam Engineering. Jim.
Thank you. So this site plan is for a 2,400 square foot industrial building. The building is intended to be used by the property owner for his contracting services that he has. This building is also designed to allow for alterations for a 2-tenant future build-out. And if that would happen, then additional site modifications would be needed prior to the use of that second unit. The property is zoned M1 light industrial, and it is a legal non-conforming lot due to the substandard area of the lot. Screened refuse is not shown, and then all refuse containers will be required to be stored inside the building. There's no provisions for exterior material or equipment storage. If this would be desired at some point, a site plan approval would be needed prior to the use of any kind of outdoor storage. A single driveway is proposed to access Schmidt Road. This driveway also provides access to the lot to the, I guess you could say, to the south via an existing access easement. 3 standard and 1 barrier-free parking stall is being provided and satisfies the requirements based on the needs of the current use. Curb and gutter is also being provided along the north and east edge of the parking lot. Sanitary sewer and water services will be extended from Schmidt Road. The stormwater management plan has been submitted and is currently under review, and the site has been designed to generally drain to the southwest. Drainage swales are also being provided on the north and west sides of the building to divert water around that building. The site is predominantly disturbed gravel with partial revegetation, so the developer will be required to stabilize the lot with topsoil and seed in those areas that are not stabilized. Landscaping plan shows landscaping along the north and east sides of the parking lot, and then the unwooded areas would also need to be stabilized with turf as described under the grading section that I just talked about. A wall sign is identified on the wall facing the street. No details have been provided, but prior to installation of a sign approval will need to be granted. The architectural building elevations provide predominantly a steel building for the sidewalls and the roof. The sidewalls will be a ash gray and a midnight gray, and the roof would be midnight gray. Architectural accents of the Santa Fe ledge stone, cultured stone veneer is proposed on the lower half of the building, and it also wraps around to each of the sides, which complies with the urban design standards. Staff would recommend approval of the site plan with the listed conditions.
Thanks so much. Any questions or comments for Jim? Yes, sir.
I just have a question for Jim regarding the parking lot. I see that on the plan, obviously they're doing one office there, but then in the future they might split and do a second one. That's why they have the other overhead door and the other door at the southeast corner of the building. When they do decide to expand that way, would that impact the number of parking stalls, or is it just going to be based on the number of employees? I know that the footprint is not going to change, but is there going to be an impact where they will need to add to the parking lot? Obviously, if they start using that overhead door, they will need to get a new access there. So I know that
Correct.
They'll have to add pavement.
Yeah, we would end up having a new site plan being submitted to show the pavement for the use of that door, and then also any kind of parking and increased needs. So the code right now under the M1 requires parking to be provided for the largest shift. So obviously you add another tenant to that, they'll have to increase their parking needs based on the need of that tenant.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Montal and Dolnick. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And before we officially adjourn, I believe there's one announcement.
Yep, this is going to be my last planning commission meeting due to a change in residence. So thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity to serve. It's been a pleasure serving the community in West Bend alongside you folks. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Bryce. Thanks for being with us.
Appreciate it.
I'm sorry, what? I have a question. Does it pertain to an agenda item, or?
You already passed me up and I just let it go through. Should I come up there?
You should let him talk.
Sure. Yep. We already approved it, so
Yeah, no.
don't mess it up.
No,
But yeah, if you just want to state your name and address for us. and who
Okay,
you're with.
Caleb Krull, 1470 Decorah Road, West Bend.
Okay.
You already approved it. They told me to bring the CSM and the signature pages. Do I get signature here tonight, or do I give it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll
exactly.
take care of that for you if you just want to give me the original, and we can
Okay.
take care of the signatures for you.
Okay. Do you
Okay.
just want the signature page or the whole thing?
I'll need the whole thing, please.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Thanks for coming. Then, having no further business for the Planning Commission, I adjourn by the call of the chair. Have a great night.